podcast. I'm your host, Peter Cabranes, and I'm going to be by myself today on this review. But there's a slight chance someone else will be joining at the end of this. But we'll get into that if it happens. You'll hear it in the intro. So if you don't hear that portion in the intro, then no other person. If you do, then expect that other person. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. So this episode is going to be all about Aquaman. It's a movie that came out quite a bit ago, probably going on the beginning of the month, right, of December. It is a new year soon, depending on when you're listening to this. It might be 2019 already, or it might be 2018 still. As I'm recording this, it is still 2018. This is the December 31st today. The episode is coming out, did come out today. So, anyway, so we are going to be talking about Aquaman. It is a movie that did come out, and that is all I'm going to say. End of review. Just kidding, of course. I'm going to go into it. A lot of people like this movie. I don't think I'm one of those people. I'm just going to lay that out right in the beginning. Not particularly a fan of this this film. Right? I was going to say something messed up there, but I decided not to. But it is a movie that I had no interest while sitting there watching it. Really did not. But we'll get into all of that in just a moment. I do want to say a couple of things. Shout out to those people that have been sharing and liking all of our stuff on social media. Thank you guys so much for that. Without you, there is no community that we are trying to build here at Facts Not Included. So if you guys can continue to do that and just, really understand what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to create a community of fans that are constantly communicating, constantly talking movies or entertainment or whatever it may be, and having their own discussions on our pages and with us. And so that's really what we're all about. That the podcasts stem from those ideas or could create some of those ideas. So let's keep that ball rolling. But anyway, just wanted to let you guys know all that. New things coming in the new year. Pretty excited about some stuff that's coming down the line. As you guys know, I'm always teasing these ideas, but yet they're far and few in between, I guess. Right? The dates for these things are way down the line. But I just like teasing them because it's fun. But yes, keep doing that. We appreciate it, and we love you guys for that. So the guys and I saw Aquaman probably opening weekend, I want to say. And we saw it with a pretty packed crowd. It was a group of people that seemed to be really excited to see this film. I was one of those people. Antonio was one of those people. And Mike was one of those people that was... actually, sorry, Antonio didn't go with us. My good friend Avni went with us. Shout out to Avni. What's up, man? So the three of us went. We checked it out. Again, packed crowd. Pretty cool. Pretty big theater that we saw it in. Actually, no, that's the funny part. The screen in which they used to show us was pretty small. That's I think that was the funny part. But it was packed. It was extremely packed, but the screen wasn't that big. No, it wasn't actually. Now that I think about it. But anyway, notice. I think you guys know this. When a review of a movie is not talking about the movie much, you know what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't like it. I didn't like the movie all that much. I will say, I might as well go into it. So we're watching the movie. The movie opens with the idea of, the mother, played by Nicole Kidman, Atlanta, and his dad, whatever his dad's name is, the guy that plays, the guy that plays Jango Fett in the Star Wars movies. He for some reason is Aquaman's dad because I guess he's the most Samoan-looking person. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could. It's just whatever. Anyway, it's just funny that he's in it because he hasn't done a movie in how long? Probably since Star Wars. I just find that funny. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Holy crap, he does a lot of things. All right, I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. But anyway, so all the stuff regarding the mom and that early stuff, Throw it out the door. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that his that. I guess for me personally, I already know enough about Aquaman to not need to know about that. I get there are the average folk that doesn't, and I'm not a big Aquaman person. I don't know all about his his background, his story, his rogues gallery. I don't know uh, the amount that maybe a diehard Aquaman fan might know, but I know enough to get me by. So the thing is, I told everybody, and I really said this: you could sleep for about 40 minutes into this movie. You could have a nap, take a nap, wake up, and then there's your movie. The rest of the movie after that. So when he has his first King Orn, his brother, Arthur's brother Orm, when they fight for the first time, uh, with the I forget what you call the staffs, right? When they fight for the first time, without the staff he was supposed to get, which is again they even kind of make you feel like it was a waste of time. They even tell you like he was like, oh, well maybe we should have gotten the other staff first. Like you're basically telling me that all of this was a waste of time. I don't like that portion of the film. From the beginning of the movie to the first fight with King Orn, waste of time. Totally could have cut all of that out. I think, maybe not. I have to watch it again. But you totally could have cut that all out, and I would have been happy. The movie going forward, excuse me, the movie going forward from then on out was watchable, enjoyable. It wasn't 10 out of 10, and I wasn't asking it to be. But it was really good from then on out. I wasn't bored. For some reason, prior to that, I was bored out of my mind. I didn't care for Aquaman. I didn't care for Mara, whatever you want to call her, or any other character prior to that. Black Manta, even when he's introduced. I think what they did with Black Manta was cool. I think the idea of having Black Manta in this film was extremely smart. It is his main, if not one of his main rivals or villains or whatever. And I get that. I love it. I love Black Manta and what they did with him 90%. The only thing I do not like what they did was the extremely cartoon, over the top, deep voice that the actor kept putting on when he had the mask off. I didn't care too much for that. Other than that, great character. You did a really good job. The fact that you decided and played with the idea, because some people with these comic book movies, you get the idea of, well, you can't do the exact costume from the comic because he's going to look too bizarre and funny in in reality. They said, nope, we're going full Black Manta in the sense of giant head. And so they even play on the fact that, we'll go with the small head, but it's not going to work properly because the heat distribution, right? So, genius. I love that. Really good stuff there. But again, going on with the rest of the movie, I was confused, kind of like, who's the real villain here? Is it Black Manta? Is it Orm? Is it anyone else? Who's really the problem here? So I was a bit confused through that. It wasn't quite clear. And what did it have to be? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this movie, the writing is extremely poor. I don't know who wrote this movie. Screenplay by Will Beal. What else has this man written? Let's see. He wrote Castle, the TV series, wrote about 5 episodes. Gangster Squad, that trash mess. No, just kidding. That Gangster Squad's an interesting movie. It is a pile of... Anyway, it was promising. I'll say that. Training Day, the TV series, and then they give you Aquaman. That's a jump. I'm sorry. That's a jump. That's insane. What are they thinking? I don't know. I'm not in the industry. I apologize, and I would love to be a writer in the industry myself. I write, I understand. I'm not saying I'm better than Mr. Beale, but there was just something missing from the script. It seemed poor at best. I don't know. There were great moments of writing, but the use of language is important to me. The use of language is key to telling a story. It's not just saying, I love you. It's how you say, I love you. It's not just saying, I'm going to the store. You know, it's the way you say it, the words you use to say the action. If someone is walking down the street, then the way you describe that, depending on the character you use, depends on the language you use. And I just felt like several people spoke the same way. And I don't know. I have to watch this. I really have to watch this movie again. So we have a good friend. Shout out to our good friend Mean Gene. What's going on, dude? He's a fanatic of this movie. He absolutely loved this movie. He came out of this movie and said it was the greatest thing in the world, it seems. Now, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but he was along those lines of where he thought this movie was a fantastic work of art. He thinks it was great. I don't know what he was watching, but we had some disagreements on the film, and he we went back and forth as to why I think the movie's not the best and why he thinks the movie's the best, and so I don't know why so many people enjoy this movie. I really don't know why. I don't know if they've all seen the same movie I've seen. Is it a conditioning thing of realizing that this is the best the DC could do, and so let's like it? I don't know. I'm also I understand, like, I enjoyed Wonder Woman a lot. And there are those that are in my friend group that they don't despise it, but they don't find it to be as exhilarating as I found it. They thought it was extremely boring also in the beginning. Um, and I've seen Wonder Woman twice. I didn't get that. But same could be said with the Aquaman movie. I felt like the beginning was extremely boring, and other people aren't thinking the same. And which just goes to the discussion of film is subjective. Like, not everything that you like, I'm going to like. And that's the whole idea with DC, which is fascinating. Because Marvel, with their movies, I don't know how they do it, but somehow they could get most of the world to just go, great job. But for some reason, DC finds the ability to go, we're going to get about 50-50 of this, aren't we? And obviously they don't strive to do it, but I think it's also the culture. I think we've already been conditioned to not enjoy what they give us because of all the problems they've given us in the last couple of years. But this is not why I don't like the movie. It has nothing to do with DC. And all considered, to be honest, I kind of forgot it was a DC movie. I do give this movie a lot of props, and I've said it. Black Manta's fantastic. The idea. The world looks pretty great down there. The water CGI stuff that they did kind of blew me away in some spots. There's some spots you could tell green screen, but that's almost a given now because you're conditioned to go. Okay, wait, was that shot on location or not? Oh, it wasn't. Okay, so we're kind of conditioned to be that already. So, whatever. But the CGI stuff they did with the hair is unbelievable. The CGI stuff they do down underwater, which is obviously not underwater, it's all created by computer. Pretty fantastic, There are moments, yes, where, like I said, you could tell that janky little CGI spots. But again, it's to be expected when you create a world like this for the first time. I'm sure they'll get better at it as time moves on. And again, we are to be as moviegoers, we're getting smarter and smarter. We're understanding how, especially someone like me who studied this in college and does it as a profession, I understand how things work. And so I see it right away. But for the average moviegoer, they might not notice it. They might not care to notice. That's the other thing. They might not care to notice. And then I think that's an important part here. Because this is one of those movies where it's like, suspend my disbelief as much as I can, and I'll join you. Right? Um, I have a tough time with that, which is partially maybe why I don't like this movie as much. I don't know. Or is it just the truth that the writing was subpar? The beginning of the movie is extremely boring and not needed. And I think that's where it just lies. That's where it just goes. So the rest of the movie, Mike and I came to this conclusion. They should call this Aquaman colon ambush. Because every single time that two characters are having a serious moment, and this is also a big problem I have with this movie, any two characters are having a serious moment, right when it's getting juicy, I guess, boom, ambush, explosion, someone's here to attack. It happened 5 times in this movie. I think I counted. I think it was 5 times. Characters came out of nowhere, ambushed the couple, and I say the couple meaning the two people, not necessarily a relationship in a romantic sense, but they ambush the couple, and like they go from there. Why do you have? Fine, the first time is fine. Maybe a second time is fine. But to do it 5 times in the movie, it got to the point after the third one, I just kept expecting them to happen. I was like, it's going to happen, isn't it? And then it does. It did. It does. It's fascinating. The first one, I believe, is in the house when the Atlantean guards came in and took his mother. And then it go on from there and so on and so forth. The amount of times that it happens becomes predictable. It's going to happen now. It's going to happen next. Kind of something that could have been avoided or dealt with. It's lazy. It's extremely lazy. Couple of reasons. One, the obvious is you played it too much. Why did you do it so many times? It's done about 4 or 5 times. That's a lot to do that stick so many times in the movie. Another idea is, well, how do those characters know exactly or where those people are going to be? And I know that's a problem a lot of movies suffer with. This is not the first movie to suffer something like that. But really, how does each character know that those people are going to be there? There's that. I'm sure in the movie it explains some of them. It's, again, guys, it's been a few weeks since I've seen the actual movie. I didn't write notes when I saw it. This is just all stuff that I'm remembering, so it's very possible that they do explain, but I'm not, at this very moment, exactly sure. Again, would have to watch it again. And so, you do those ambushes and stuff, and, people don't know where people are at, so it's kind of like, is this real? Is this a really a smart idea to be doing another ambush in the scene? It's just, again, lazy. It's like my issue with Deadpool 2, with his you went a little extra with the cursing, a little over top at certain things, because you weren't sure where to throw some of your good jokes. I don't know. Yeah, Aquaman. It's just not my thing. It's not my cup of tea, and I don't know how long I could talk about this movie. So this might be very, very short. But going into I'll give a little history about this. So going into Aquaman, I have not seen Justice League till this day. Have yet to see it. It's not that I don't have an interest in seeing it. I saw a good chunk of it while I was on vacation, and it was on TV. It was like on Showtime or HBO or something. And I was watching it. I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. But I don't know what part of the movie I was in. I think it was towards the end, so maybe that's why I was liking it. Because DC does a pretty good job with like the middle of the movie. And I keep saying that because that's a problem here in Aquaman, right? Because the beginning, they don't know how to tell the beginning of a movie. And I don't know whose fault is that. Is that a DC problem, or is that the writers' problems? I don't know. But anyway, so I enjoyed Justice League for the portion that I saw. I saw about a good hour of it, and then we had to leave or something. Um, that wasn't bad from what I saw, and I've seen every DC movie since or prior to that's involved in this universe that they're doing here, and so I don't I don't get it. You know, I still, again, you guys know this already. Man of Steel for me is a masterpiece. It's an amazing comic book movie. It's not a character I particularly am a fan of, Superman, but it is a fantastic work of art. I love it. It's a great story. It's well done. It's fantastic. Problem is, that was the first one, and that was many years ago, and that was when Zack Snyder gave a crap. Now he's no longer involved, right? Um, and then you got Batman vs Superman, which it's not terrible, but it wasn't what it should have been. Maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? I've gone to like it a little a bit more than when I used to hate on it, because it was fun to hate on it then. But I again, Ultimate Cut's the only cut you should be watching of Batman vs Superman anyway. So anyway, and then you have, what do you have there? You have Suicide Squad. I enjoyed that movie. You guys know I like that movie a lot. John, if you're listening, you probably to this day you still hate me for liking that movie. And then you got what? What do you got? Suicide Squad. Then you got Wonder Woman. And then you got Justice League. And then you have Aquaman, right? I don't think I'm missing one. And if I'm missing one, I've seen it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know I've seen them. But yeah, so you have all these films, and they're all, in their own right, they're okay. But together in this universe story, you really need to tell a cohesive story. So the DC universe is not as terrible as people say it is. It's just not probably what it should be. Um, so Aquaman for me, if we're gonna put them in like a chronological order of good and bad, where they rank, I think again Man of Steel goes at the way, 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 way top. Um, Man of Steel goes at the way, way, way top. Wonder Woman's just going to be just behind that. Then I'm going to put Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman, um, Justice League, and then I'm going to put Aquaman way at the bottom. Way at the bottom for me. Or I'll do Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Batman vs Superman, Aquaman, then Justice League. I'm not too sure because again, I really haven't seen the entirety of Justice League, and I don't think Batman vs Superman deserves to be at the bottom, but Aquaman I think does. Anyway, um, to give a review, a numerical stamp on this movie out of 10, as we usually do with reviews, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Or 6 out of 10. I wasn't pleased with what I saw entirely. And listen, it's a 2.5 hour movie. So for about an hour and 50 minutes, I enjoyed the film. But for 40 something minutes, I did not. And that's a lot of the movie. It's not a lot of this movie in particular, but 40 minutes is a good chunk. So I'll give it a 6, maybe 6.5. But that's where I stand with this film. Not a super fan of it. If you cut those moments out, I'll be loving this movie a lot more, and I'll give it a really good rating. But the fact that it is part of the movie, and you put it out there, not something I'm particularly too happy about. So that's why I gave it the rating I gave. Now, where do we go from here? Shazam is coming out very soon, I think in April. That should be fun. And then that's the only DC movie for the rest of the year. Shazam, I'm very excited for. I cannot wait to see the Shazam. I'm very, very excited for what they're going to show us. And I liked what they've shown us so far with the trailer. So there's that. Birds of Prey is supposedly coming out in 2020, and then Wonder Woman 1984 is pushed down to 2020 as well. The Flash movie is still slated for 2021, and Batman, whenever that's going to come out. And then we have other just ideas and stuff floating around. Suicide Squad 2, very possibly. James Gunn apparently is involved in that. So we'll see where this goes. I have no idea what DC is going to be doing. Anyway, that's been Facts Not Included. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and remember to always like and share what we put out there. If you don't like it, say you don't like it. Let us know. But I'm sure this review, not a lot of people are gonna join me on this review here. I will. In full defense, I'm a bit tired. I just woke up, kind of. So it's one of those reviews. I do sound a bit different. It's only because my voice has changed from the night. I don't know why, but I woke up with a bit of a hoarse voice today, so I apologize for that. But hopefully you guys get to hear from other people on this review, and maybe it's right after this. But peace out, guys. See you later. Have a good New Year's. Bye-bye.